Neocon John Bolton gave a speech the other day, and he made some comments about the International Criminal Court. And these comments got, next to no media coverage, but this is what I call a genuine scandal. This is absolutely atrocious. So let's watch, and then I'll break it down.
In November of 2017, the ICC prosecutor requested authorization to investigate alleged war crimes committed by U.S. service members and intelligence professionals during the war in Afghanistan, an investigation neither Afghanistan nor any other state party to the Rome Statute requested. Literally any day now, the ICC may announce the start of a formal investigation against these American patriots who voluntarily signed on to go into harm's way to protect our nation, our homes, and our families in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. The ICC prosecutor has requested to investigate these Americans for alleged detainee abuse, and perhaps more, an utterly unfounded, unjustifiable investigation. Today, on the eve of September the 11th, I want to deliver a clear and unambiguous message on behalf of the President of the United States. The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court. We will not cooperate with the ICC. We will provide no assistance to the ICC, and we certainly will not join the ICC. We will let the ICC die on its own. After all, for all intents and purposes, the ICC is already dead to us.
I oftentimes say that neoconservatism and American exceptionalism they're fundamentalist religions. That's how they manifest. That's how they function. And in fact, if you think about American exceptionalism, what's another word for exceptional? Supreme. So really, American exceptionalists, they are American supremacists. And American supremacism is the idea that we're above other nations. And that's incredibly ironic because the U.S., we love to proclaim, we believe in equality. Well, you can't believe in equality, but also be an American exceptionalist because that's American supremacism. You're saying everybody's equal, but we're also supreme, which means it's not equal. We're above you. So which is it? You have to pick one. But see, this is the point. All of these flowery words and all this rhetoric that's used to try to make Americans feel good about our role in the world and being the world police, that is nothing but rank propaganda. Because I got news for you. Every empire ever throughout human history always told themselves those pretty little lies. Like, sure, we're doing fucked up things around the world, and sure, we may be colonizing people, and we have settlements, and we, exploit native populations and steal their natural resources, but it's okay because we're spreading the proper values around the world, and we're bringing order and justice. Well, isn't that fucking convenient? No matter what you do, it's bringing order and justice. So you no longer look at the world and you look at the law as very clear rules, and then when anybody breaks a rule, you have to obviously, bring about justice. No, it's whatever we do, we have wonderful, benign intentions, so it doesn't count when we do it. If anything, it's not even that it doesn't count, it's that it's a good thing when we do these things. So here's the main point. Let's say you really believe in human rights and you really believe in justice. If you did, wouldn't you be the first one to say, I want the International Criminal Court to do an investigation of people on our side in the U.S.? Why? Because I care about justice. I care about human rights. So obviously if somebody on our team was doing something wrong and illegal and immoral and unethical, like torture, like, violating due process procedures, like offensively attacking people, massacring civilians on purpose. If somebody on our side did that, yes, bring them to justice. I'll be the first one to say bring them to justice. Absolutely, because I really believe in human rights. I really believe in justice. But what's John Bolton doing? The exact opposite. He's saying, no, not only are we not okay with the International Criminal Court investigating us, you're dead to us, and we're going to sanction you. There were threats of sanctions that came later on. So that's what it is. I'm an American supremacist. I'm a neocon. We're above the law. We are justice. We are... John Bolton's idea of justice is Alonzo from Training Day. That's what he is. I get to do what I want, and I define that as justice and the right thing. So he's okay with torture. He supports torture. He likes torture. He's okay with offensive wars against countries that didn't attack us. He's still advocating for them to this day. John Bolton is one of the biggest leaders for regime change in Iran. So here's the deal, guys. John Bolton is the terrorist. I didn't stutter. That's not like, oh, how dare you say that? How outrageous. No, it's true. Because he advocates for offensive attacks on countries that didn't attack us and totally callous and doesn't care about the civilian casualties in the process. Minimum 200,000 civilians died in Iraq. You know, I'm sure thousands died in Afghanistan. And what's his response? Oh, the International Criminal Court could fuck off, and they're dead to us, and no, they don't have any right or ability to investigate us. And also, there's a point to be made here about money, because the International Criminal Court, as Adam Johnson of FAIR points out all the time, who are the people who the International Criminal Court has actually gone after? Virtually all of them, African dictators. Wow, isn't that interesting? So you go after the people that have, on the world stage, relatively less power. Now, are they going after U.S.-backed dictators? We arm and prop up and fund and give weapons to 73% of the world's dictatorships. Is the International Criminal Court going after those people? Nope. Are they going after the U.S. and other rich Western countries? Nope. Because, again, we say, oh, we're Western civilization. We're the liberal democracies. So when we act fundamentally opposed to liberal values, doesn't count. We're violating liberal values and the Enlightenment in order to uphold liberal values and the Enlightenment. Therefore, the ends justify the means. It's all good. Well, again, that's the same justification, the same rationalization that every single empire throughout history has given. Every brutal dictator, every monstrous person. That's what they said. No, it's okay when I do it because I mean well. No, actions matter. You are what you do. So it's supposed to be the case that if somebody breaks the law and they're a billionaire CEO, they're supposed to go to jail, the same as if somebody broke the law and they're a poor person committing a petty crime. If they commit the same crime, they're supposed to have justice doled out the same. Doled, whatever the fuck. Justice is supposed to be blind, is the point. And what he's advocating for here is the exact opposite of that. No, you're not allowed to come after us. We're rich. We're powerful. We're the world's sole superpower. So try me, bitch. Try me, bitch. It's like Chappelle's show when he was President Black Bush. Oh, the UN says it's not a good idea for us to go into Iraq. Well, go ahead and sanction us. Sanction us with your army. Oh, that's right, bitch. You don't have one. So what you gonna do? That's what John Bolton's doing right here. That's exactly what he's doing. Oh, the International Criminal Court wants to come out. Oh, that's cute. Well, why don't you come after us with your army? Oh, that's right. You don't have an army. And oh yeah, you're dead to us and now we're going to sanction you and we're going to cut off funding and we're going to throw this out the window. These guys are monsters. John Bolton is a monster. I'll say it again, man. Just because he's a white dude with a goofy mustache wearing a suit and tie does not mean he's not an extremist. He's a foaming at the mouth neocon and American supremacist. He has blood on his hands. He really does. And he keeps advocating for more and more offensive wars to put even more blood on his hands. So these guys are as bad as it gets. They're as extreme as it gets. And they make it so that your tax money is used to kill innocent people, women, children. This guy supports the absolute genocide in Yemen being carried out by Saudi Arabia with our help. So I just need everybody to understand that. These guys are as bad as it gets, but they're not covered that way. John Bolton is just covered as like, what do you mean? He has a difference of opinion with people on the left. That's how it's covered. And when he does what he does, and when he advocates for these wars, it's, oh, well, you could agree or disagree with it, but worst case scenario, it's a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. It is a fucking war crime. It's a war crime. He's in violation of international law. He's in violation of the Geneva Conventions and the Nuremberg Tribunal. He's literally telling the International Criminal Court to piss off. It's like, haha, that's cute. You're going to come after us? No, we're above the law. If any other country did this and acted like this, and they weren't an ally of ours, we would immediately say they're a rogue state, they're a terrorist state, and they're ripe for regime change. Now, is anybody going to say, oh, it's time to do regime change in the U.S. because they're obviously a rogue state, they're obviously a terrorist state, they obviously don't abide by international law? That's the whole point of what he's saying here. They're not going to pay for the fact that they still are doing torture, and they've been doing torture, and they have Guantanamo Bay open, an extrajudicial prison, and this is all against even the fucking Magna Carta, never mind the U.S. Constitution and international law. So what are we going to do? We got to get rid of the United States because they're a rogue terrorist state, and you can't control them. Well, what are we going to do? Look at these people. Are they going to pay for the minimum 200,000 innocent civilians they killed in Iraq? Are they going to do that? Nope. And now we're in Afghanistan. We're there 17 years. You know what the approval rating was of that war as of 2013? So this is even going back a while, but it's the last poll I found. 17% of people still wanted to be in that war in 2013. 17%. It's the most unpopular war in history, more unpopular than Vietnam. So we're at a war for 17 years. Nobody in the U.S. among the regular people actually wants to be there. People like John Bolton fight to keep us there. And oh yeah, by the way, we're illegally occupying the country. The Taliban still controls about 40% of the territory, so even if that was your goal, to beat them back, it's gotten worse since we invaded. So it's almost like the real reason we're there has a lot to do with the tremendous amount, trillions of dollars in mineral wealth that's in Afghanistan. Oh, no, you're not allowed to say that, because then you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist if you bring up oil in the context of Iraq and the no-bid contracts in the context of Iraq, like with Halliburton, for example, and the other so-called defense contractors. You're a conspiracy theorist if you bring up the mineral wealth in Afghanistan. Even though we have Eric Prince from Blackwater, private mercenary army defense contractor, who was on Fox News just a few weeks ago, and he said, yeah, we're gonna draft up a plan because obviously we can use that mineral wealth from Afghanistan. They have a lot of money sitting there, and we can get our hands on that. So these guys are out in the open. Trump said this when he campaigned. Oh, we're going to take the oil from Iraq. So now it's just regular politics in America that people come out there and say, sure, that country that we offensively invaded, and are now occupying, and we killed hundreds of thousands of civilians. We're also just going to steal their shit. We're just going to steal it. And we have the nerve to lecture the world about human rights and altruism and justice. I think that's what annoys me more than anything, is that on top of being monstrous, we pretend like we're angels. And guys like John Bolton, honestly, he deserves to be rotting in a prison cell, which is why he feels the need to go out there and make this speech, because he knows that if there really was an objective analysis into what the U.S. has done in Afghanistan, what we've done in Iraq, and what we're doing around the world right now, 1,000 military bases. That's roughly what we have. I think it's more like 900, but it costs $100 billion a year to maintain them. Bombing at least 8 different countries. Shadow war in Africa. If real justice was upheld, given these facts, he knows he'd be in that prison cell. Which is why he has to go on the offense for self-preservation, even though it outs him as what he is. A guy who advocates for political violence to achieve the ends he wants. Against civilians, too, because he doesn't care who he kills. So there's a word for that: terrorist.